Hello and welcome to Talking Pictures Podcast. I'm your host David, and joined with me as always my co-host Brian. Brian, how are you today?
Yeah, David, I'm good.
We're here once again to talk about another summer blockbuster that's just released, The Flash.
DC's The Flash.
We've done something kind of different here than most of our regular episodes where we haven't seen this one together.
And we haven't spoken prior to this recording what our thoughts are. We don't know what each other's opinions are of this movie. David,
for anything at all.
We knew what our anticipations were for each other, but I don't know what you thought of this movie, and you don't know what I thought of this movie, and the ins and outs of what. You have a couple of facts that we can get into later. I have a couple of information and notes that I'd like to delve into, and somewhere along the middle, our worlds can collide. And we can talk about what we agree and what we noticed, and
what we did, or maybe what we disagree. We don't know.
Well, yeah, that's what I meant.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So as always, full spoilers.
Oh, yeah, 100% full spoilers. If you're listening to this, you better have watched it. Don't listen to this if you haven't watched it.
Or just be prepared to be spoiled.
Yeah, if you have an interest in watching it, go watch it. If you want to know if Brian and David has to say about this movie, well then, okay, fine. But we're talking spoilers. I think watch it if you are remotely curious or you have a past day. I think David would agree, depending on anyone's interest. Like, I'm sure you would agree, David. If someone had I might see that movie, but I want to see what these guys think. Mm-hmm. You would agree.
Yeah,
yeah,
I think so.
Yeah, before the movie, it doesn't matter that we saw it. Like, we now have our final opinions, but you go first, David.
It was okay.
It was okay.
It was okay.
It was okay.
I don't really have a strong opinion on it one way or the other.
Okay.
I think that it was fine. It was everything I was expecting it to be, but it let me down in a lot of places as well. Not both in terms of, say, maybe characters, villains, plot, and CGI.
Strap in, folks. We're in for a long one.
What did you think of it, Brian?
Oh yeah, I like that. This concludes with this. No, okay. Alright, so right off the bat, I liked it more than you did, David.
Okay.
It's not the best superhero movie there is. It's not the best DC. But it's, when we always throw this word away, it's unique. The word unique to a movie. But David, this movie really is unique. Let me tell you what this movie is. This is a movie we should not have got. We got this movie in an era way past its existence. This movie should have been released a few years ago, not too long after the Justice League movie back in 2017, not too long after the Aquaman movie. We should have got it after Aquaman, maybe in 2019. Or
I think its initial release was for 2018. So
yeah,
it would have kicked off this whole multiversal...
Essentially so, but this movie went through a lot of... we'll get into it later, but it really did... The point I'm trying to make is, David, we shouldn't have got this movie now. Mm-hmm. This movie is like a bonus episode of a TV franchise we've been watching, which is the DCEU. Mm-hmm. And it's like, oh, look at this little featurette behind the scenes thing that was put together to make a bonus episode. A what if, so to speak.
Yeah.
It's like if the Man of Steel and the Batman v Superman and the Justice League movies were the core timeline, and then that would continue into whatever they were trying to do in a Justice League 2 and Wonder Woman part of the timeline, and then we'd segregate into these other beeline stories with Suicide Squad, Birds of Prey, even Aquaman, because that was very standalone, and then Shazam, because that never came into it. I wouldn't call this a really segregated thing, because we had elements of Justice League in here, and elements of other previously core timeline movies, such as Man of Steel, and a bit of Batman v Superman, and even previous DC movies yonders ago. But this was still a special event, a bonus episode. And it's quite strange. I think it's flopping actually. I don't know if it's making much money.
It's not doing as well as predicted. No,
Well, I think the director did a good job.
you think?
I think so.
I think. I suppose if we launch into it in terms of what I think it didn't do well, and then we can counter, go back and forth. I thought that throughout the CGI just looked not good. I don't want to say bad, but it just didn't look good. I just felt like for the standard that
We should be at today.
it didn't meet that. I just felt like whenever there was superpowers going on or anything, I'm like, I'm not watching anything. It felt like everything was made out of like rubber. When he went into like the Speed Force and was going back in time, I was like, I'm not looking at I'm looking at Ezra Miller on a blue screen and nothing. He's just reacting to nothing because it just felt like everything was not real. You know what I mean? Like when he was going back in time and we'd see the layers of
Yeah.
the people, that just felt like I was like looking at like poorly drawn or like well drawn concept images, but not actual like people there.
That's interesting. Tell me more.
It was like a lot of moments like that where the opening where he's saving the babies and the babies are falling out the window and I'm like, he's not, I don't know, it just didn't look real. It didn't ever feel like, oh, there's a baby that's actually going to fall to its death. And then like, yeah, it just didn't feel like at any point I was looking, and the director came out and said like, oh yeah, no, it's supposed to look like that. It's supposed to look a little bit weird because, you know, the Flash is moving so fast. Everything does look a little bit strange. And I was like, I just felt like that was an after the fact excuse as to why it is. And
I like that after the fact excuse.
Yeah,
that's something I know of, but I never had a title to give.
Yeah, it just felt like it was, for as long as this movie was in production,
Yeah.
it should have been better. It should have been you know, like Jurassic Park looks better, and that came out in 1994. And that's just what I thought of the visual effects for me. I don't know about you.
Well, what I hope the director means by saying, when he says that's what their special effects are supposed to look like, I hope he's only limiting that to when Barry is in the Speed Force and the layers of the millifraction seconds of time surrounding him in infinity. When he's looking at the multiplications, the duplications of multiple layers of time all around him, a copy and paste, if you will. When we're in the Speed Force, essentially, it was distracting at first, but especially when we got close up onto a couple of people's faces, like, Jesus, that it just looks like a decent video game graphics, but a very uncanny valley. But I think my mentality adjusted to it as we, frequent that realm, and I think I just accepted it, and I think I mentally prepared myself. This is not really supposed to look fine because this is fiction. This is how are we supposed to think this should look like, and we can't visit ourselves. So, I get what you mean. It could have looked more realistic or better, but I think because Barry is visiting the Speed Force and all of this is like surreal, but it should be science fiction, science but still fiction. I think I was alright. Now to the babies and to the dog and saving all the superhero distressees, like how, like literally, the superhero has to save a baby, superhero has to save a female, has to save a puppy, throw them all in. And I think I would be more critical. I am critical. It does not look great, and I was like, come on.
Yeah.
But it didn't annoy me. It didn't, piss me off. It didn't take me out of it. I think they didn't stay on the same shot of the baby longer than it needed to be. I think a second longer, it just would have made it worse. And Yeah, it was fine, and I think I would hate this movie, and especially that scene, for example, a whole lot more if it did release back in like 2019 or something like that. Mm-hmm. But the fact that we've been waiting for this so long for a multitude of reasons, at least I am able to look at this and think, this is like not on the same level of Zack Snyder making his Justice League, but this is like on a subsequent linear layer of its own, because not only has this movie been through the washing machine way too many times, it's also released in an era that is cancelled. So I think I'm looking at this movie more than a normal blockbuster superhero movie. This is a special thing we've got. We shouldn't have gotten it, but at least not now.
Well, I agree and disagree with what you just said. I'll tell you for why. I'll start with where you started. So in the Speed Force, where it's supposed to be this weird realm, I would have accepted that if we had maybe a bit more of a, like in the first Doctor Strange, when he's kind of transported through all these different like dimensions and kaleidoscopes and all, and if it had been just like something, just a little bit something extra, because he just kind of runs and he's in this like kind of blank open space, and then he's in the speed for the the time bit, and he kind of is on the, I could only describe it really as like he's almost in like a Roman Forum Colosseum, like that. If we had like a Doctor Strange moment of like all these kind of weird, like really out of this world visuals of craziness, and that, like seeing that kind of stuff, and the world maybe distorted around him and stuff like that, that would have eased me into the uncanny valley of seeing the kind of models. So
is there like anything of example you can give me to help me picture it?
Just like that kind of like that. I think the Doctor Strange, the opening Doctor Strange sequence, or not the opening sequence, but in the first one when the Ancient One kind of touches him on the head and he's like, sent back, and he's through all these different astral forms.
Yeah,
and
I am trying to remember that, but that Doctor Strange sequence lacked a lot of humanoid figures, whereas this was all humanoid. This was all people.
No, well, I'm saying something, that kind of a sequence before entering that set.
Right. Okay.
To ease me into that, and then I can accept this uncanny valley a little bit more
rather than jumping into it.
Exactly, because it went from nothing to that.
Really?
But if I had a little bit of a
teaser, essentially,
it's like, the world is warped. He's in a different plane of existence.
Yeah.
So you're not going to see everything. I think that would have been a little bit easier to
even when he first ran into it, and like his body was like, it started with his hand, it was like sort of elongating back, and then with his mouth, with his teeth, his face still there, but then his whole body, it's like his whole body frame is being stretched.
Just more of that. Yeah.
Okay. No, that's a fair point.
And then the second thing, the sequence of the babies.
Yeah.
That was their opportunity for the X-Men Quicksilver scene. That was their kind of opportunity to create this iconic scene of showing someone at super speed and everything else in slow motion. And I just don't think... Now, obviously, they can't recreate that, but they could do their own spin on it. And I think they tried to, but it just did not land the same way. Because when Barry runs, the whole world kind of has this orange hue to it.
Yeah.
So it just didn't... the colour grade was...
It's very orangey. It's very warm. It's very sun-like. It's not...
It felt like you're in the desert in Blade Runner 2049.
Oh, Jesus, not to that extent.
Not to that extent, maybe, but that's what it was reminiscent.
To compare them to, they can't be compared to. But I see what you're getting at in terms of description. Blade Runner was real. That's
the difference.
That's the difference.
So I think that scene could have been more, definitely. I think it didn't. That didn't land for me either. Yeah. And then it was punctuated by the messed up CGI.
Yeah, look, it's their own doing, because look, they're having like 6 babies and then a dog and then all these CGI special effects, and then he's showing him eating some food to get his calories up. Like, that's the tree they decided to climb, and they climbed it, and they broke down some branches on their way, and that's what they get. Maybe it could have been polished up a lot better. As I said, I'm more critical to that as opposed to the Speed Force scene. When it comes to other special effects in terms of when they're using their lightning powers and anything involving Supergirl, that didn't take me out of it really. Anytime he got electrocuted, the lightning didn't bother me.
That all looked fine.
Yeah. I thought it looked fine. Honestly, off the top of my head, if I get reminded in the course of this episode of something else that that didn't look well, or that didn't look right, or I didn't really like that. In terms of the special effects, I'll let you know. But aside from the baby scene, the baby rescue scene, and essentially the what we discussed about the Speed Force, then nothing else really bothered me. I did like the first approach they had in him running, whereas it's like I don't know really how to describe it. He stands on one foot, and it's like as he's about to run, the environment around him, the street where he's about to run down, stretches it out, but we're zooming in on him, but like we're dollying back out or something like that.
It's kind of like it's like when in a horror movie when someone's standing at a hallway and then all of a sudden like the hallway just extends like 10 feet, but that's the whole world of like he can kind of nearly, the world narrows around him and he can see much further. He knows where he's going.
Yeah, I liked, and he's running literally from Central City to Gotham. I liked that sequence quite a bit. I thought that was great. I was like, wow, it's taking me into it essentially. I like that approach.
That's great in creating a world.
Yeah,
that it feels like these places are real, and you know, if you're the Flash, you can go from one to the other in a minute. That's good of creating that kind of world.
What did you think of essentially the sorry, we can get into the 2 Barrys essentially of the movie, but I'd like to add this to the special effects, so to say. I could pretty much 90% all the time tell which Barry was played by Ezra Miller in the scene and which Barry was played by a lookalike with Ezra Miller's face digitally implanted on him. Could you tell?
No.
I could tell quite a bit.
I wasn't looking for that.
I could just see it. I think when the 2 Barrys are in the room, and if one Barry's sort of moving quite a lot and we're following him on the camera, and you can see the other Barry in the background, the Barry in the background is more than likely the one where Ezra Miller's face is put on him. I could see the digital work done there.
I wasn't looking for it. I just assumed he acted the scene twice.
No, I don't think that was it at all.
I knew he had a stand-in, obviously, but I didn't think it would place on.
And I think it stood out to me because there was a lot of movement and the 2 were talking. And you know, for an actor to play 2 versions of the same character, like we've seen that before. Sometimes it's an actor playing 2 twin brothers or twin sisters, or it can be like the time travel, or it can be like, you know, with the thing that was in Jordan Peele's Us. I thought this was really nice to see 2 fully fleshed out characters backing off from each other and having full-fledged conversations. Like there was quite a difference. And if you thought Ezra Miller was annoying as Flash, well, throw in a more annoying one, and the other one can like, oh Jesus, am I really that obnoxious? But I did think the 2 of them were funny, and there were a lot of funny moments planted into long extended scenes. So the scene where he's travelled back in time, he realised there's 2 of them, takes him to his apartment, and he's trying to find out if the Justice League is still in 2013 essentially, because Zod is coming. And you know, his roommates like waking up, like dragging out a tattoo of this guy who actually played Martin McFly in Back to the Future, and the other friends waking up and hungover, food, and not giving much thought to these 2 guys look too similar. And the other guy playing the piano, he's a YouTuber, annoyed the shit out of me. Like annoyed Barry in the movie as well, but no, shut up. And why are you putting so much time and emphasis in trying to explain who Aquaman is when you've pretty much established Aquaman doesn't exist, but you're trying to tell him? Who the hell is he to you for you to tell him that?
Yeah, why wasting your time?
Yeah, but there are a few moments like that like in a lot of scenes, but that's just one for example. But they did plant enough humor. Like even before that, when he made him get electrocuted, like there's a few setups funny like that, and lifting him up, like carrying him like in the two arms, like a husband carries a bride into the house, phasing through the doors, like that was funny. And then when he realizes he's lost his powers, he tries to run, and Barry looks up and he sees him like running the way he runs.
The silly kind of
run with his fists and his arms groping out like that. And it's like him running like that doesn't bother me. How are you supposed to run when you're faster than the speed of light? So him running like that, like it's fine. Plus he's not an athlete either. So imagine that, like a nerd, non-athlete person getting the powers of super speed. You're not an athlete, so running
just whatever way you're running is how it is. I think it was the smartest way to do, in a way, a Flash origin, of having the Flash learn his powers without actually doing an origin story.
Almost similar to Spider-Man Homecoming. Like he's learning to use his powers with some Stark tech and.
He's already, because he's obviously already established.
And he's already established, but...
But we get to see him learn, how to put on the suit, how to phase, how to run fast, how to use the built-up electricity in his body, stuff like that. Stuff that the original Barry...
would have had to learn on his own.
And already knows.
Yeah.
But because, obviously, for a lot of people, this might be their first introduction to the Flash, so it kind of nearly necessitates... an origin story explaining how does this work, because if it had just been the Flash, just that one Barry, and he just is using all his powers and it's not a problem, and maybe a lot of people would have been confused, there had to be a surrogate there for the audience as to what this is. And it's like, phase, I need to move my hand faster through the molecules and do this. And I think it worked fine in terms of, this is an origin story for the Flash, but not an origin story. It's you get to see the Flash learn to use his powers, but also not in a traditional origin story.
That's quite creative. I didn't realize that, but I do agree with you.
See, in the comics and in the animated Flashpoint Paradox movie, which is what this movie is based off of, there is only one Barry. Yeah. There is no two Barrys, and it's because it's under the assumption that you are following the comics. It is made for the comics, and you know who the Flash is and his power set. So this is very much for a more general audience, I think, of explaining what the Flash's powers are and an origin story.
Yeah, and that's not the only thing that changed for Flashpoint, essentially. Batman in Flashpoint essentially is supposed to be Bruce Wayne's father, Thomas.
Yeah.
Right? Well, instead of doing that and getting Jeffrey Dean Morgan, they decided, let's get Michael Keaton in instead. And he was awesome.
I'll let you talk positively about it before I talk negatively about it.
You sure?
Yeah, you go ahead first.
I think Michael Keaton as Batman is the whole saving grace for this movie. Now, let me add this in by there's always two separate portrayals or depictions of a Batman in movies. There's the one who's grounded in reality, where yes, this is all complete. This can happen. That would be Robert Pattinson's Batman and Christian Bale's Batman. Kinda Michael Keaton's Batman up until now. Because Ben Affleck's Batman, he's fighting aliens and monsters, and he's kicking his feet off dividers on the highway, and he's not breaking a foot doing it, and he's dragging his whole body across, everything. He may as well have some form of superpowers, but he doesn't. And that's what I'm assuming James Gunn's Batman in The Brave and the Bold, who is also going to be directed by this movie's director, Andy Muschietti. Looking forward to it. He's already had some Batman teases. So Michael Keaton is now also the Batman for the core of the movie, and he's also capable of lifting the guy with his two hands at 70 years of age, lifting him up above his head, firing him through a square piece of glass. Grand. He's able to fly down towards some bad guys, back up with a guy, throw him to the ground, and back down again, land on his feet, not a problem. I would have liked to have maybe had him struggle as he was Batman, like he sort of struggled in the kitchen in his first introduction when he's interrupted cooking his pasta with the long grey hair. That was quite a good scene. And even with Barry having lost his powers, our main Barry, and the young Barry has gained them, Barry's able to just dodge all his moves, no bother, and the other Barry's just getting the rough end of it, getting hit all the time. It was a funny scene. That was a bit of humour. The whole time the younger Barry didn't realise he's Batman. I thought it was funny, like stupid, but it's funny. And the whole time, his you gotta say the lines. I'm Batman. You want to get nuts? Let's get nuts. It didn't bother me. I want you to say that. That's fan service. Service me as a fan. And I thought it was done right. I did think, so we're just established that this Michael Keaton Batman knows multiverse talk. He's able to explain to us because we need someone to explain it to. It's an interesting way to say how time travel works with pasta. How you can change that, with the pasta strings, putting one next to each other, but you change one end completely. You make it a cross essentially, or an X.
I'm kind of tired of time travel movies explaining to me how time travel works and changing. I feel like every time travel movie that comes out now is like, you thought that's how time travel works? That's so stupid. This is how time travel works. And it's just like it feels like every time travel movie has to set their own time travel rules.
Yeah, well, that's a fair point. However, that's because someone bet them to it. And they still want to make their interpretation of it. And if they want to put a different spin on it, fine. If and I thought it was creative how you can change the past to change the future, but the past still remains completely changed. And it was interesting.
It's a way that's not been done before. Definitely.
Yeah, but it's still like doing the trope. But all of a sudden, Michael Keaton knows how time travel works. Doesn't matter anyway. I thought he was He was an unofficial leader. He's providing them with the transport to Russia. He's not meant to be Batman. Ben Affleck's meant to be Batman in this DC iteration, essentially. But we've got this Batman instead. And this Batman he's old, he's grizzled. Gotham's safe, yeah, so he's retired. But he's hesitant to come back out into the fold, and he's doing his little bit, and he's being cool doing it. Like, and the poses, not just like pose, but like the skydiving, and you see the ship is they just fan service us. That's it. That's all I've got to say. Go watch the movie or don't. But especially with all the controversy this movie has and all the delays, you just want to see Michael Keaton's Batman. And we got fan service in Spider-Man Not Far From Home, No Way Home with Tobey and Andrew. Let DC have some fun with that. They have the history of it. They have DC movies back in the day. It's nice to have it. Your turn.
I'll preface it with this, okay? Michael Keaton is Batman. Okay, Michael Keaton is a great Batman. Okay, yeah. He started it, and it's great that he got to come back. Okay,
yeah,
but I just wish there was more to him. I wish there was another layer. I felt like the Batman that we saw here is exactly the same Batman that we saw 31 years ago. I feel like there was no change from him at the end of Batman Returns to now. Yes, Gotham is safe, but I would have loved for Gotham to be safe because Batman broke his rule. or something like that. That Batman had to kill someone, and that's what, you know, tipped it over the edge. In the comic and the animated movie, like you said, it's Thomas Wayne.
Yeah.
It's Batman's dad. That's one of the things that Barry changed, is that in Batman's origin, it's Bruce that's killed, and his parents, his dad becomes Batman and his mom actually becomes the Joker, which is interesting. But in that, Thomas Wayne he uses guns. He doesn't have that rule. He saw his son die and he's a broken man. So I would have liked to see Michael Keaton's Batman do that. Mm-hmm. Maybe not use guns, but I would have liked to see him different and grizzled, and, you know, maybe going through, like, in the Batcave, like, you know, loads of little Easter eggs of like trophies from villains, like, say, maybe seeing like a Riddler's staff or Mr. Freeze's gun or something like that. I would just like to see that Batman continued on after we saw him.
Yeah.
You know, I felt like he was very much, oh, let's get Michael Keaton back. And he's exactly the same. And there's no, like, even his suit was exactly the same. You don't think after that many years he would have upgraded his suit?
I think, you know what that has me thinking? Luke Skywalker in The Last Jedi. Mm-hmm. Luke had a lot of layers where we find him in that movie. And instead of being brutal, murdering baddies, he exiles himself. Mm-hmm. What this Michael Keaton Batman did is he made Gotham safe and he retired. And there is no deeper layer, whereas why he is grizzled or why he is reserved or why he is so easy to kill people as opposed to maim them. He was actually quick to let Supergirl, not that they knew who was Supergirl, it's not him, let's go. Mm-hmm. Like, he was quick to leave her there. Yeah, but the point I'm trying to make is that after that fight in releasing Supergirl and showing who she is, and the two Barrys, and one of them getting shot, which is funny. It's funny, someone getting them shot. Mm-hmm. Yeah, Quentin Tarantino rule. Anyway, the point I'm trying to make is that when he is stitching his arm up and he's removed his mask and his blood, he's looking at himself in the mirror and he's thinking, he's got a bit of a smile on his face.
He kind of likes the thrill.
Yeah,
back. Yeah.
And that, we'll not get into it just yet, but at the end he's like, you did make me. What did he say to Barry? Like, you did bring me back. Mm-hmm. You already did.
Oh yeah, you did. Yeah, you already brought me back. Yeah.
So, I'm thinking he didn't change. He just retired, mm-hmm. and when he stepped back into it hesitantly at first, he realized he actually enjoyed it. He says, "I'll help you really free this mm-hmm. Superman, and then you're on your own." What did he do? Want some help? He stayed on, and he helped him out. It was really good. That scene, the way he's spinning the Batwing, mm-hmm. and that when he in the fight where he ejects from the wing, crashes it, and he jumps on top of the gigantic story alien, who is notable from Man of Steel, plants a bomb on him one by one. And you have to wait for the bomb to charge up and explode. And he's still holding on to him on his back, on his shoulders, on his side. He's that big, he's able to sort of like crawl around him to avoid him being grabbed and flung off him. Still trying to throw bombs on him mm-hmm. and explode. And that's what happened. Which is good. He did get up straight away. I thought, oh, is it his back break? No, he's still got up. Blood on his face. There's no way he's going to fight this Kryptonian. He's mm-hmm. dead. And no, there's one more bomb planted on him, blows his head up, but thank God he didn't die because he's Kryptonian. Mm-hmm. He shouldn't die. And then Batman falls to his knees. He's broke, mm-hmm. and he dies. Michael Keaton Batman dies there, mm-hmm. And I thought, well, they already saved him because he, crashed the ship and died. Mm-hmm. And Supergirl...
He dies twice.
Yeah. But that's why I was thinking, okay, so why are we dragging this death scene out like the way an emotional death scene should, when you can just go back and change? Well, that's what, we as the audience, or at least me, and then the young Barry's thinking, whereas the older Barry is like, this is all wrong. Because in Supergirl being there, like, she's fighting Zod, and I like her. She was great. I actually really liked her, Sasha Calle as Supergirl. Fighting off Zod, but every time she fights Zod, she dies. Zod keeps killing her, and I would have liked a little bit more of a layer, whereas she didn't need to die for him to extract the Kryptonian thing, because in the Man of Steel,
they brought him onto the ship, yeah,
and they were hoping to bring him on, like, whereas does Kal-El need to be alive for us to extract this? And they say no. Well, I would have liked Zod to say, you don't need to die for this. We can still take this out, and you can still be with us, be with your people. That is a layer above the ladder I would have liked to have had, but we didn't. It's funny because when we're watching these elements of Man of Steel, the fight scene essentially with Zod and the two Flashes and against Supergirl, and I'm comparing it to Man of Steel, and Man of Steel, there's no like rock music or metal music playing in the background and watching all this action, vibrant colours, being all child friendly, whereas in Man of Steel it was dreary, it was to be taken serious. It was very deep, it was emotional, it was greyed out. It's what made me love Man of Steel, because it wasn't all colourful, gosh golly ma'am, I'll save your kitten from the tree. Whereas this movie sort of depicted that differently. And so to me it's lesser than. But that's the way they wanted to approach it. That's fine. That's what they wanted to do. But it still gets dark, because every time Supergirl dies and Batman dies, not that I was emotional about it, because the way of the superhero genre and fake deaths, and me thinking, well, they'll just go back in time and change it, but that's not what they do. And I kind of want to savor this, but while I'm on the roll here, I'll just say it. I like what our main Barry is thinking. All of this in this world, Supergirl, Michael Keaton's Batman, Zod being here, me changing the past and saving my parents, all of this is not allowed. This all should not exist. All this needs to be erased. It needs to be cancelled. He created life forms and memories for people for the gust of a decade or 2 decades since he saved his parents. And that should not have happened. Supergirl should be floating off in space somewhere. Michael Keaton's Batman, he shouldn't be there. And this is all a mess. And this I'd like to add to this as well. There's no main bad guy. Zod's there, but he's not the villain. He is just one element, like Supergirl and Keaton's Batman, that is part of a mess Barry made, and he needs to clean up. They're all part of a situation that it's something that's not supposed to be here. It's like that SpongeBob episode where he did a drawing of SpongeBob and he came to life. It's like, no, that's wrong. You can't do that. Erase it.
Yeah. Well, I want to jump back one little thing there.
Yeah.
You compared Batman to Luke Skywalker in episode 8.
Yeah.
I think that would have been perfect for Batman, because you said there about how he retired. He made Gotham safe and he retired.
Yeah.
How much better would it have been for Batman to say, I couldn't do it. I couldn't save the city. No matter what I did, evil continued. And to have him be disillusioned with Batman. He doesn't want to be Batman. And then for Sasha Cale, Superman, to come in and inspire him and to give him hope, which is what, the House of L is, to give hope, and to have her kind of say to him, like, it only takes one person to make a difference.
Yeah, that would have been better.
I think that would have been better, rather than just him like, yeah, I saved Gotham and I retired, as opposed to, you know, have him be a recluse and be a reluctant hero to come back.
Yeah. But and I don't know how that would have juxtaposed to Supergirl being reserved and hesitant to save people because she's been imprisoned all her life. So would that have, she would have had to, you know, make her own journey to want to save people. But even then, which was the case for her, that was kind of like rushed. It's like, oh, Zod's killing all these people and I kind of feel bad because I've been told people are good, even though I've been imprisoned by them all my life. Still want to, you know, help them out. If they were going to still do that with her, draw out a little bit more, don't rush it, and then still have her be like that to, you know, make Superman come out.
I do have to agree with you on Sasha Cale's performance of Supergirl. I thought she was great.
I love that.
I would love to see her continue into the DCU.
I really do want her to play it. She's awesome. She's cute. She's beautiful, and she's awesome.
I think that when she finds out that Zod killed Kal-El, she has that moment like, what did you do? And it's just this pure, unadulterated like anger. It was brilliant, and essentially she is just beating on Zod the entire time, and it was great. It really reminded me of Man of Steel. There's a scene where Zod goes to the Kent farm, and Superman comes in and he's like, "You threatened my mother." Like, that's the thing that, you know, really pisses him off, and he's just like wailing on him there.
Yeah,
I thought that was reminiscent, and it was great to see a Kryptonian unleashed. And then obviously Zod, he had his suit on, so he didn't have the powers like Superman had.
And it's all the more unfortunate and actually brutal, just not elevatedly brutal. She dies every time. She's not strong enough to beat Zod.
No, he's a military strategist. He is a general.
She's only fresh out of prison. She's not capable of doing this.
She's been in the sun for like 10 minutes.
And the emotional rage that's going through her mind because he killed her infant cousin that she was supposed to protect. I so want that to continue into James Gunn iteration of Superman and Supergirl. I am very much looking forward to Supergirl, and I really want her to play Supergirl. Just have her play the same. Just have her play Supergirl. It doesn't need to be the same version. Just have her play it. It'd be awesome. It'd be great. And just one last thing with Supergirl. I like that she was not strong enough yet to beat Zod. And I like if they like, because Supergirl's not supposed to be stronger than Superman. She's not. That's just it. You know. But imagine pinning that to the also unhappy, unfortunate, and hard life she's had to have lived.
Like being experimented on and tortured, essentially.
Just mix that together and you're getting a rage-fueled Supergirl that I'm going to root for.
And I completely agree with you with that kind of fight with Zod. It felt...
And the trailers, I thought it was like, oh, she's like beating on Zod really easy. But no, not the case.
I felt like that whole battle sequence, the whole exchange, felt like, oh, we forgot to put a big battle in, guys. What the fuck are we going to do? And they went back.
Language.
Sorry, yeah. But it was like, what are we going to do, guys? Oh, what if we put General Zod in it? And then that way they were able to come up with a third act. Because it didn't feel like... Because the fact that they could time travel, and because it's in a different universe where Barry can just leave.
Yeah. Universe or just time period?
I felt like it was a different universe.
I do agree, different universe, but it's not supposed to be.
But it definitely just felt like, oh,
he can just leave.
He can just leave.
Yeah.
And he could go back, or he could just run into a different timeline, go back and change something else.
But then something's just going to go wrong.
Yeah, so...
And that was the point that was being made when the two Barrys were in the Speed Force and young Barry's going back in and going back out, and he just keeps failing and failing. And like, this is just more evident that they're dying, but you need to erase it. You need to cancel it out. You need to make it like it never happened. Which is, yes, it's killing them. That is killing them. taken away their essence, but they never should have been there in the first place. They should have elevated more on that, but to me that was deep. I interrupted you.
No. How did you feel about the? I guess the main villain, which
Zod?
was not even Zod.
Well. Before we get into that, but I do want to touch on let's get General Zod in there. To me, General Zod was, as I said earlier, an element that should not be there. He's just one problem, part of the whole event and situation Barry created that he needs to fix. He's something that he needs to fix, just like Batman's in that of Michael Keaton, just like Supergirl, just like a whole lot of things, just like he needs to fix him saving his parents. That's why he's not the main villain to me. To me, there's no really main villain. It's just the event is the villain. The event is the antagonist. The situation, the plot of the movie. The passing the threshold of no return. That is. When was the last superhero movie we got where something like that? Because Zod's not in a whole lot much, and neither is this main villain you're about to get into. One last thing before you do that. When General Zod announced his arrival, we could see his face more so than we did. And I didn't really for that. It made me think, this is lesser than Man of Steel.
Yeah, I know. Especially when you had the footage there. You just use that again.
Yeah. Are you trying to let us know early on this is the Michael Shannon, which is great they got him back. Who went to seek Zack Snyder's blessing for it.
But he doesn't seem too happy about it. I've seen in recent interviews him saying the likes of, all these multiverse stories, it just feels like someone playing with action figures. Like that the story doesn't really matter that much because anything can happen.
He's just an actor with an opinion like the rest of us, that's it.
I see where he's coming from though.
Yeah.
Because he said he said he trained for like a year for Man of Steel. And then for The Flash he was on set for like 2 weeks. And that was it. He came in, did his stuff and left. So he didn't feel, maybe he didn't have as much of a connection with this film as he did maybe Man of Steel.
Yeah. I can relate to that. That just goes to show Zack Snyder is the type of director to elevate characters.
Yeah. To put the time in.
Yeah. Not all the time, but a portion of the time. Whereas Andy Muschietti put a lot of focus in his maybe his lead 3, or at least his leading man, because it's 2 roles. But he put a lot of work in the event of the movie and the plot. And I actually like this camera work quite a bit. Something just stood out to me. Especially, I think it started when he phased through the doors and the 2 of them, they were about to, to do the electricity, to get lightning struck to him. I thought, Jesus, he's actually he got a good cinematographer there. I liked it. I'm looking forward to him doing the Brave and the Bold. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. James Gunn thinks so. What were you about to say about the villain? Because I keep on rambling.
So the villain is revealed. Well, the villain is revealed. I guess, is it a villain? Like, it's a bad guy, and it's the Black Flash, the Dark Flash.
I thought it was a Wraith, or a Wraith.
I thought it would be too. I thought initially, when Barry's going back in time, and this Dark Flash comes out, and you see him menacingly, and he's like, oh, and then he's kind of knocked out of the Speed Force.
Pushes him out.
I thought...
And then that's the last one for now.
That's the last one for an hour and a half, 2 hours.
Yeah.
It's like they forgot about him. And they were like, oh, we forgot about that. I thought that was going to be like a Wraith sent by the Speed Force that, oh, you can't be messing with time like this. He's going to come now. And I thought he would chase Barry
throughout the
movie and would, Barry has to be constantly vigilant. Because in the comics, and this is a great way, is that the Black Flash is kind of he is the manifestation of death for speedsters, because speedsters are so fast that there needs to be a death for them. And so the way that he defeats him in the comics is that he runs to the end of time. The Flash runs and he's chased by the Black Flash. He's chased all the way to the end of time, and when they get there, because it's the end of time, nothing can exist at the end of time, not even death itself. And death is erased, and then Barry's able to run back, and that's how he's defeated. I thought that was where they were going with it, that a Wraith or this physical embodiment of death was going to chase Barry for the mistakes that he made, and he needs to correct this timeline by getting rid of Barry, and they go through that. But no,
That's not what we got.
that's not what we got. What we got is an alternative version of the younger Barry if he had stayed in the Speed Force and spent years trying to correct this one mistake.
Which is what that older Dark Flash Barry with the scar did. Mm-hmm. He did. What happened to his Barry that was older? I wonder, did he kill him and just keep on trying to correct his mistakes and whatnot? Because he had, I don't know.
He did have that moment where he swung for him with the knife and
whereas in our timeline, his younger self blocked it. Mm-hmm. I wonder if something there that we could notice upon second viewing that made him think to block him. And he died too. Mm-hmm. A lot of people died in this movie. But a lot of people, these deaths are deaths that should not have been
life.
Yes. It's like, do you understand what I'm trying to say? Mm-hmm. People are dying when they should not have existed in the first place. Mm-hmm. And it's still all the more fortunate because they die anyway in the erasing of it all. Mm-hmm. And I thought it was a rape too. And I thought, well, and then there was that. You're right. It was like an hour and a half until later we see. It's like awoken or something.
It's like 10 seconds at the start and then a scene at the end, and it was like they wrote it in at the start and they're like, we'll get to that at the end, and then they forgot about it, and it just.
I think they just took too long to get back to it, and fair enough. It's what they decided to do. They decided to, instead of making it, the Dark Flash, Death Flash, they made or a Wraith. They made it. A Wraith, so to speak, but a younger Barry. Mm-hmm. It's adaptation. It's what they wanted to do. Fair enough, not a bother. Just could have done a couple of more, rewrites maybe to improve it, to foreshadow it. They didn't do that. It's fine. Oh my god, we didn't even get into mentioning the worlds colliding within the Speed Force.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah.
Is there anything you want to touch on before that? I thought Barry phasing, young Barry phasing, like when he just first got his powers, in the streets. It's a bit of it too long, but that was funny. And then phasing through his neighbours, things like that were funny.
Mm-hmm. Like it was funny, yeah. Like it was. I think that maybe it was overdone a little bit. Some bits were like it was a comedic moment, and it wasn't funny at all.
Over explaining who Aquaman is.
Yeah, or they're about to run and he says, come on Barbie, and then younger Barry says, let's go party, and you're like, what? Okay. The bit where, like you were saying there, it spends so long on this Eric Stoltz joke when it's like, okay, I don't know if very many people actually know that Eric Stoltz was the original person that was cast as Marty McFly, but they lingered on it so long that I was like, okay, just show us the footage, because there is footage of Eric Stoltz as Marty.
Oh.
In the house with Doc, him and Doc are talking. There is that footage and you can see it online. I thought, we're going to see some restored footage as if this is the middle of the movie. But no, it's just like they just keep referring to Eric Stoltz. I was like, who knows who Eric Stoltz is?
I
don't. The only reason I know his name is because he was Marty McFly. And I don't think many people know that. So
I didn't know that.
It just felt like that was like...
I just presumed he was, I don't know, original cast or, one actor considered. When they did bring it up first, when young Barry's trying to suit on, it's like, this is the start of him realising a lot of things have changed, which eventually led to the change of the no superheroes. Mm-hmm. So because when they went back to the apartment, they brought it up again. I didn't mind if bringing it up in the park, but what I did mind is this: it was just drawn out in that one scene, and come on. I don't care about these people. Mm-hmm. How much did you have to pay that guy to draw a face on his leg? Mm-hmm. Did you think it was funny to stretch out his leg? I didn't think it was funny. I thought it was very annoying. Just get onto it. Mm-hmm. I thought the two Barrys was enough to be funny.
The two Barrys and then the two people that he worked with, seeing them as like not these uptight people making fun of Barry, to see them as friends.
Yeah.
But the other guy, the guy with the tattoo on his leg, I was like, okay, who's this guy's friend? Like who does this guy know on the production team that he's now in the scene when, you know, it was just like, okay, come on, next scene, please.
There was something you wanted to bring up, was there? Before we get into the
I thought we could do
cameos galore.
I thought we could do some flash facts. I think we should bring a new section here where we talk about some facts about the film. Not opinions, facts.
Factual opinions?
So we've got some flash facts.
I got a fact.
You got a fact?
I got a fact.
You go with the fact before I go with the facts.
Fun fact, David. The first teaser for this movie was released the gust of almost 2 years ago, when it was only in production. Mm-hmm. Imagine that. This movie was number 1 on my watch list because that's when I put it there for a 2023 watch list release. Because I only put movies on my watch list that are coming out in the year. Mm-hmm. And they go on that list when a trailer is released.
Mm-hmm. Well, funny you should say that, okay?
Why is it funny?
First flash fact, okay?
Oh, goody.
You don't know these ones, okay? Well, you don't know. You may know them. So.
I might know.
First flash fact.
Someone doesn't.
The Flash TV series, okay? The Flash TV series starring Grant Gustin.
Yeah.
Its first episode was October 7th, 2014. The Flash movie was announced October 15th, 2014, so a week later. So we had the first episode of the Flash TV series, and they announced this movie a week later.
This movie, huh?
In that time, between when the movie was announced and when the movie came out on June 12th.
What's with the TV show?
The TV show was able to produce 9 seasons. That show went from October 2014 to May 24th, 2023. Had 9 seasons of TV before this movie came out.
Huh.
And fun fact as well, a fun fact in the fun fact, in an episode of the TV series, Ezra Miller appears as the Flash.
I saw that clip.
There is a Crisis on Infinite Earths event, and they meet for a small scene, and it's pretty good, to be honest. It's a great scene. But that's the first flash fact.
Okay, I'm liking these flash facts.
The second flash fact is the Flash film had 4 directors before Andy Muschietti was brought on to helm the picture.
I did know. Mm-hmm. I know some names. I don't know who came first and who was last, aside from Muschietti.
But at one point, Phil Lord and Chris Miller were signed on to write it. And they are, of course, the masterminds behind the Lego Movie and Into the Spider-Verse and Across the Spider-Verse, which you can listen to our previous episode on in your feed. Link below.
Wink, nudge, nudge.
Nudge, nudge. Fact number 3.
Hold on a second.
Oh, sorry, you want to go over that?
Who, do you know any of the other directors?
I don't have any of them written.
I know who 1 or 2 of them were.
I think James Wan was offered it, but he was offered it, but they said you could go with the Flash or Aquaman. He went for Aquaman.
Rick Figueroa.
He was one of the names.
Yeah, he's not that standout of a director, and he didn't do it. Mm-hmm. The directors who did Game Night,
they were on it. Yeah,
they were on it, and they dropped out because they had disagreements with Ezra Miller because Ezra Miller wanted to do his script, and his script
he wrote a script with Grant Morrison. They wrote a script together, and then that one was passed off as well.
Yeah, and who else was in on this movie? Yeah, so this movie had a lot of switching changes, and this movie, quite a lot of delays. It's almost like, was this movie ever going to happen? Almost like Indiana Jones. Was this movie ever going to happen? The fifth
I thought it would be pushed again with James Gunn taking over. I thought it would be pushed. I thought it would be pushed to the end of, Aquaman, Blue Beetle, and then the Flash.
I remember thinking, just release it now while you still can. But no, it released then. Jesus, doesn't time fly, folks? Tomorrow will be 40.
The third flash fact: with his appearance in this film, Ben Affleck will have played the role of Bruce Wayne and Batman 4 times in live action, more than any other actor. However, Affleck is the only Batman never to have his own standalone movie.
What do you make of that?
That's crazy. He's been Batman since 2016 in Batman vs. Superman.
Then 2017?
Batman vs. Superman. He appeared in Suicide Squad.
Yeah.
Justice League. And then I suppose if you count Zack Snyder's Justice League...
It's additional scenes and it's pretty much a different movie.
So there's 4 and then this one is 5. So 4 or 5 depending on how you count it. But he doesn't have his own solo movie. He's only appeared as a co-star or as a cameo or anything like that.
He was supposed to have his own solo movie that he was supposed to write and direct, but he ended up passing on that due to personal issues, but he was still going to star. Then he dropped out entirely, and what made of that eventually turned out to be Robert Pattinson's Batman movie, which is all for the better.
And I think it was a huge shock when he actually said, "Oh yeah, I'm coming back for this."
I thought he was coming back as Bruce Wayne, not as Batman as well.
And we got an extended Batman scene at the beginning. And it's kind of, I don't know about you, it's kind of strange to see Batman during the day.
It was a little bit strange. His suit was the greyish blue as well. But, I don't know, this is the type of Batman who fights monsters and ghosts and ghouls and demons and all that. This is not the one to, fight off serial killers and murderers in a depressed city in our day and age. But this is a heightened Batman who may as well have super abilities. I did think that one scene with the lasso truth with Wonder Woman. Oh yeah, Wonder Woman.
That was funny.
That was a funny scene. My ego was too big to take. What was it? I don't know. It was funny, and maybe I should have just given away all my money. I would have lived a better life. But it was funny. And what Barry saying, I know about sex.
That was weird. I didn't like that. That was just that. I just felt like that was like, okay, why'd you say that of all things? Do you know? I know about sex.
I don't know. It made me chuckle, and I did like seeing Wonder Woman in this. I liked it.
It felt strange to me to have Wonder Woman in it, and so much mention of Aquaman, but not have different versions of them in it. Because in the Flashpoint paradox in the movie and the comic, the event, General Zod event, is actually a war between the Atlanteans and the Themyscians, the Amazonians. It's a war between them, with Aquaman and Wonder Woman at the leading points of them. So it was strange to have her in it and then not follow through with having more of her.
I guess.
But it feels like she's now the cameo that they wheel out, like in Shazam, and in this it's just like, okay, bring in Gal Gadot for her one scene. It's like, I don't know. It was it was a funny enough scene to begin with, but it raised more questions than it answered for me. Yeah, you gotta get that riff in. Okay, flash fact number 4. Michael Keaton reprises his role of Batman in The Flash after 31 years of an absence. Since he last wore the cape in 1992's Batman Returns, this makes Keaton the oldest actor to portray a live-action Batman at 71 years old. That's an old Batman.
Did you know that Michael Keaton's name is actually Michael Douglas?
I did know that, actually, yeah, and he had to change it because obviously Michael Douglas is already an actor.
I like Michael Keaton more. Mm-hmm. And Michael Keaton is he's a classic Batman.
Mm-hmm. I would love to see him now in a Batman Beyond story, where he is the older Bruce Wayne and a younger Batman comes in and he's the mentor.
Oh, I wanted to stop.
That's him?
Yeah.
That's done.
No, I don't. I just want this DC era to close and let James Gunn roll in. Mm-hmm. Just... It looks promising. I'm looking forward to what James Gunn has.
Well, funny you should mention that. And you said it earlier. This is director Andy Muschietti's first non-horror film, and he is next set to direct Batman in The Brave and the Bold in James Gunn's new DCU. So that's a big... I don't know exactly what James Gunn saw in him that would say, oh, you're perfect for Batman, as opposed to maybe helming another Flash film, or someone maybe a little bit more lighthearted. Maybe it's from his horror background that he decided Batman. But I'm skeptical but interested to see where it goes.
I think Andy Muschietti can do a really good job with directing a Brave and the Bold. Mm. When was the last time we got a Batman movie that doesn't have the title Batman in it? This is not just a Batman movie. This is a Damien. Shut up. This is no. That's a fair point. This is though. I think I'm looking forward to it. Mm-hmm. This is obviously going to be a Batman who's similar to Ben Affleck's one, and therefore Michael Keaton's one. He's going to be in his 40s. He's going to be, hopefully, he's going to be hardcore, and he's gonna be able to fight a couple of monsters here and there, you know. But yeah, I think because he directed 3 actors in this movie who played Bruce Wayne, Batman.
Okay, we're going to jump into cameos here.
He's capable of directing 4th actor to play Bruce Wayne, Batman. That could be a reason.
The worlds colliding moment where we see all the other worlds and we see the cameo scene. I was underwhelmed by it.
Okay.
And for 2 reasons.
Tell me.
In this scene, you get a couple of shots of other worlds. You see Jay Garrick, who was the original Flash.
Not a close-up shot, though.
No. You get George Reeves' Superman. Black and white Superman.
Yeah.
The original Superman.
Yeah.
You get Christopher Reeves' Superman. And
Inandera.
Helen Slater.
That's it.
Supergirl.
Yeah. And?
You get Adam West, Batman.
Yeah.
And then you get a CGI fight between a long-haired Superman and a spider.
A giant spider.
A giant spider. And you turn around and it's Nicolas Cage. And I was like, okay, that's interesting. That's cool. But how many people know that there was supposed to be a Superman movie starring Nicolas Cage where he fights a giant spider? And, there's a lot of people that would know that, but not a lot of people that would know that. More probably people don't know that than know it. So it just felt extremely strange to me to have this moment where you're seeing multiple different universes and in 3 of them you show a Superman variant. I think that they should have gone absolutely balls to the walls with it, showed everything and anything. Show me, Ryan Reynolds' Green Lantern. Show me a blonde-haired John Constantine played by Keanu Reeves. Show me The Watchmen. Show me Tom Welling Superman. Show me Grant Gustin Flash. Show me Stephen Amell Arrow. Show me everything. It's so strange that they would only choose 5 in this moment. Like, you could have done quick flashes to everything. Show me the Titans. Show me Doom Patrol. If you have everything, if you're doing a multiverse colliding into each other, show me everything. Show me everything. Just go crazy. Because showing me Nicolas Cage fighting a spider is like, okay, you're showing me a movie that never existed beyond a few pictures of him. So I'd rather see the movies I have seen and the characters I know as opposed to this one variant of Superman. And then you actually, sorry, I know I didn't get your opinion on it, but you said that there was 3 Batman in this movie. There was Ben Affleck, there was Michael Keaton. Who was the 3rd Batman in this movie?
Yeah, so we didn't get him as Batman.
No.
But god damn did we get him as Bruce Wayne. It's like they got this actor to come in to play Bruce Wayne the same way he is in real life. He being the actor. George Clooney comes back to play Batman. And when he strolls all up in the car, we have all these people racing to him, paparazzi to get his autograph, to take photos. That's what would happen if George Clooney were to drive up and to stroll in public street. That is the exact same thing that would happen if it was George Clooney. But it's George Clooney playing Bruce Wayne, and it's just for a good old laugh and a great, nice surprise, and it was cool. And he looks like a cool Bruce Wayne who would be a wannabe Batman.
I think that you're right. He definitely he was playing George Clooney playing Bruce Wayne, and yeah, I got a laugh. I laughed out loud when he showed up, because I had seen an interview with George Clooney on the red carpet where someone said, "Are you in The Flash?" And he went, "I don't think they'd want me in The Flash. I think when you ruin a character, they wouldn't have you back." And then when he turned up, I was like, "Oh, that's pretty funny." I think if they were gonna be serious, if they were gonna be like, "Oh no, this is a serious movie," and it would have blown my mind if Christian Bale had walked out. If they were gonna do that, I would have been like, if that car had pulled up and Christian Bale had pulled up, your jaw would have been on the floor. You'd be like, "Oh my god, there's no way Christian Bale has come back." George Clooney is a laugh. Like not laughable in a mean way, but it's a oh no way, haha. Whereas Christian Bale is, no way. Do you
Yeah.
know? They're two different no ways.
But at the end of the day, which one did you want for this movie?
For this movie, George Clooney. You're
Yes.
right. If I wanted my jaw, if I had been more serious, and if
Yeah.
I had really loved the movie,
Yeah.
then I would have wanted Christian Bale, definitely.
Yeah.
But
That was my favourite cameo of the movie.
no, mine was Temuera Morrison as Arthur Curry's dad.
That was a funny scene.
That was funny
That
too.
was,
but-
that was very funny.
No, I think George Clooney was a good one, definitely.
Yeah.
It was one I was the least expecting.
Yeah, I thought, oh yeah, Ben Affleck came back to set for one more day. That's what went through my mind. Wait, no, it's Michael Keaton. It's gonna be Michael Keaton.
I thought it was going to be Michael Keaton too because the voice didn't sound like Ben Affleck.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's not Ben Affleck. Maybe it'll be Michael Keaton and he'll be the one going
Because he was supposed to be the Batman in the Batgirl movie. Remember that? That got cancelled.
Man, if we had seen shots of the Batgirl movie in That World Collide, if we had seen Leslie Grace or Brendan Fraser, that would have been, like, whoa. I think that scene could have been a lot more than what it was.
Well, we'll get into that scene in a minute. But, yeah, that reveal that it was George Clooney. And it's literally what it is. It's George Clooney playing Bruce Wayne.
I'm surprised he's not drinking an espresso. Like, like there's no way that he's Batman with that beard.
Yeah.
Do you know, because everyone would be like, oh, that's Bruce Wayne. You know, he's got a full-on white beard. He turned up to set how he was. And they're like, perfect.
Half
Bruce
a day.
Wayne.
Literally half a day.
Yeah.
Guess what, David? They shot that 6 months ago.
I did hear that was a very last-minute inclusion.
Yeah. Apparently they were a little bit undecided because there's like 3 different phases of Warner Bros. Set execs deciding on how to conclude the movie. They thought maybe having Michael Keaton, Batman, and Supergirl, Sasha Calle, how that would work, I don't know. I suppose it's good it didn't, but another option was to have Ben Affleck's Batman and Wonder Woman and Superman. However they would do that, I don't know. But I think they decided not to have Wonder Woman or Superman there because they didn't want that to leave audiences thinking
We're going to get more.
yeah, because that's not the case. As I said earlier in this podcast episode, this is a movie that was released in an era where its franchise does not exist anymore. It's like getting essentially the Amazing Spider-Man 3
Yeah, now.
in made in the era as if its franchise is still going, not made to conclude his trilogy.
It's weird, yeah, because it's made and then the whole studio change
Yes.
happened after the fact.
Yeah.
So it's kind of...
because in this movie, right, you're having this movie stretching out as far as it can to grab a hold of the other elements of the DC movies, reaching out far to get a hold of Gal Gadot's Wonder Woman, reaching out so far to get a hold of Man of Steel elements. Not having Henry Cavill, but sure, look, that's what... He actually shot some scenes, I think, for this movie.
he's in the Speed Force as well. I mean, as a fucking, clay
But
model.
Henry Cavill actually shot...
Oh, he actually shot for it?
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
yeah. I don't know what or where or how or why, but it's not there. But you see, this movie's trying to reach out to grab it. Like, they even brought Alfred back into it. Jeremy Irons as Alfred.
Yeah,
Like, that's like a day's shoot. But they're still reaching out. See, look at us. We're still part of this universe. We're still here. We exist. Sorry, buddy. Like the mess Ezra Miller made in this movie, and outside it, this movie needs to be erased. I wonder if I did that quote right, but you get the gist I'm trying to make. So, in terms of the worlds colliding and the whole cameo scene, there is ethical reasons to bring back actors digital, especially when they've passed. I think it was nice though. Like it was a nice warm feeling to see Christopher Reeve there.
Yeah.
And then Helen Slater fly on in to see the two of them together. It was a nice warm moment, even though it was literally CGI.
I kind of nearly would have preferred to see just scenes from
Scenes
like
yeah,
reincorporated
yeah.
rather than digitally recreating them.
Yeah.
Because as well as that, like Brandon Routh is supposed to be Christopher Reeve's Superman.
Yeah.
You know, Superman Returns is supposed to be a direct sequel to those Superman. So if you wanted to do that, you could have had Brandon Routh come back, but I would have rather just see a clip from Superman and just have it repurposed to be like, oh, that he's reacting to, like, you know, he turns around. And
Yeah,
looks up
something
in the
like
sky.
that was done in animation when Spider-Man 99 in the post-credit scene went to visit that other Spider-Man.
Exactly.
And it's like that. Like it's
Yeah.
like they took that footage back from the era it was released in the 70s, and they like edited around it essentially.
Yeah, I would have preferred that.
It's like I know another movie did it, but it's like Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. That scene in
The Great Escape. Yeah.
Leonardo is there instead of the original actor, and he's like reacting to it, something like that.
Yeah.
However, that's not what we got.
No.
And what we got was a couple of handful of cameos, all of them Uncanny Valley. Even Nicolas Cage, who very well could have filmed himself more realistic, was de-aged and therefore not normal looking. And I think because it was quick and it was in the middle of the Speed Force, I was okay to like turn my brain off and just take a bit of joy. The fact that we got Nicolas Cage there. But you know what, David, would have been nicer? When they go to do this movie from the get-go, as well as you throw Michael Keaton as Batman in there, why not just get Nicolas Cage in there as Superman? Why not have the movie play out to be what it is? But when the third act climax comes, get the rest of the Justice League in there. But they're not the exact Justice League they're supposed to be. You do have Nicolas Cage as Superman, and you do have
Linda Carter as Wonder Woman.
Yeah, Linda Carter as Wonder Woman would be nice. An actor here and there that played an iteration of something back in the day, and you know what? Should have probably got Grant Gustin in there as well.
Yeah, I think that, like we said there, he had 9 whole seasons of his show, and he's the Flash for a lot of people.
Yeah.
And to have him not in the Flash movie was a waste. It was like he should have been there
Yeah.
in some form, even if it was like the Jay Garrick scene of seeing him run. You should have had Grant in there.
I'm gonna give a bit of praise here to CW Flash. Without that show, my knowledge of the Flash as a character and the iconography of the Flash, like there is an iconography of Batman and Spider-Man, I would not know it if it weren't for that CW show. So I just want to CW
I think
Flash.
a lot of what the CW show did was better than what this is. Because they both did this story.
Yes, but CW, I don't like what CW is. Like in its CW-ness.
Yeah.
You know? I do prefer the approach this movie did. It just could have been better. Yes, of course it could have been better. But I liked it for what it was. I actually don't even know what was the point of the whole Worlds Colliding and seeing all those cameos. Was the older Dark Flash supposed to be traveling to other worlds, trying to bring an army with him to finally defeat Zod? Was that what he was trying to do?
I don't even know, actually.
Were these worlds just
I think it was just
more of a mess colliding into it?
I think it was like the bowl of spaghetti, that it was like, you go back and you change this one thing and...
Yeah, which is why Barry had to pretty much do the one thing to fix his mistake, because everything here should not exist.
Yeah, and I think that the way that they did it, because obviously the Reverse Flash, the elephant in the room, he does not appear in this at all, and he's so intrinsically tied to Barry.
And and that is just one of many elements in this movie that is teased and could be explored. That just isn't, because that's not the story they decided to tell.
Because he's the one who kills Barry's mother.
There's got to be an audience member in the cinema walking out thinking, who the hell killed his mother?
Yeah.
You know?
So to have it be, if...
Not to explore that. Not even to see a strike of lightning in the kitchen.
Yeah. I thought that was... The way that they did it, I suppose, was creative. That's like, if I fix something earlier in the day, it'll stop this from happening.
Yeah.
No one will be home.
Which was quite a good decision in terms of why he went back to do that in the first place. Quite good.
But it also then kind of raises the question of, like, if it was the Reverse Flash, which it was, because that's how, kind of...
That's the problem they would have had to explore in the sequel if they ended up doing it.
Yeah.
They ended up doing
But
it.
wouldn't the Reverse Flash come in and just kill his mother and his father?
Well, the movie doesn't that element does not exist for this movie.
See, I think what is really good in a lot of superhero movies is when the hero creates the villain and the villain creates the hero.
Yeah.
I think like it happened in Spider-Verse with Miles and the Spot. It happened in Batman, Michael Keaton's Batman, with Batman and Joker. Joker kills Batman's parents, and Batman pushes Jack Nicholson before he's Joker into the vat of acid, and they kind of create each other. And that's the thing with the Flash and the Reverse Flash, is that the Reverse Flash kills Barry's mother, which sets him on this route to becoming a scientist and leads him to his powers. And then when he becomes the Flash, he saves the Reverse Flash before he gets his powers, and that leads him on a route to become the Reverse Flash. They create each other.
Yeah.
But because he wasn't in this movie, I think it would have benefited from it just being the Reverse Flash as opposed to Dark
There is
Flash.
an element of this movie that could always be better.
Yeah.
But it's just, this is the story they wanted to tell, and that's it. That's fine.
Like we always say, if we're gonna start, picking at it and this, we go back and write it from the start, write it from scratch.
Yeah.
Because you can't look at it after the fact and say, oh well, this I
Yeah.
would have done it this way.
Yeah.
It's like I should have done it from the start.
Yeah, that's...
I know we've said that throughout the thing, but
But yeah, like, that's what it's... Yeah, the point being, if you wanted this to happen in the Flash movie you wanted to see, well then you go back before watching this movie and write what you wanted to write and see how it turns out. No one knows how a movie's going to turn out. Like, when you're there filming on the day, you can only do your best and as professionals, and it's still hard. I think this is a win. To me, it is a good DC movie. It's not the best, and it's like I said, it's one we'll just have to take it as it is, because we shouldn't have gotten this. This is like a piece of alien technology coming to Earth, and it was sent to the wrong planet. Like, oh, what's this thing? Bonus yoke. But there definitely is a better version of this that could have been done. But I'm okay. I'm not turned off by it. I didn't have huge expectations, but yeah, I liked it. It was I did want it to be more taken seriously, because think about it, David. You create new lifelines and new lives, like what Barry did to Supergirl and Batman, only for having to erase them. You can't choose to go back to save them. They die anyway. They're dead. Batman, Michael Keaton's Batman, he had his death. And Supergirl, she died. You can't save them, and you have to make it so that they never existed.
and the way to do that is to let your mother die.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that scene up.
That's a nice scene when
he's wearing them glasses and that tear drops down. David, I got a bit teary. I got teary.
I don't blame you. Yeah.
Yeah, I did. I don't know how or why. I don't know why Ezra Miller's making me feel like this. But that was a very good scene, and it is a shame Ezra Miller's going through these mental health issues. Hopefully, for his sake and others' sake, he does get the help he needs. It's a damn shame he's not going to be the Flash anymore, because he's an actor. He's a great performer. There's a lot of scenes where he's getting teary-eyed in this movie. But he's a real jack in the box in real life, where chucking women, throwing chairs, and grooming children.
Did you notice there's a line in it? I felt it was so weird, right? It was when he saves the woman from the building.
Yeah.
And he says, I understand this can be a traumatizing experience for you. I suggest that you seek a physician and get mental health services. The Justice League aren't that great at providing that. Trust me, I know. And it took me so out of the movie where I was like, is that a reference to his actual real life mental health problems? And it's clearly not. But I took it as where he says, yeah, the Justice League aren't really great with helping with mental health issues. And, it felt so on the nose. It took me right out of it. I was like, that is... If I was an editor, that's the first thing I take out of the movie. I don't know what they did take out of the movie, but that is gone. That's like... I suggest that you seek a mental health professional. Zoom off. That was so absurdly strange. in the context of what is going on with this movie and what's going on with Ezra Miller. That's just me though. That's just my opinion.
It didn't take me out of it, but I see your point. 100% see your point. What do you think of the end credits scene?
It was fine. I'm kind of sick of sitting through end credit scenes for nothing. When it's just a that's a mid credit scene.
That should have been a mid credit scene. We shouldn't have waited through it. But you know what, David? When Jason Momoa just walks out of that bar and he's just being Jason Momoa because Jason Momoa is cool. I just like Jason Momoa.
So what?
Yeah, he's cool.
But I don't need to see. End credit scenes where it's the end credits. I don't need that anymore.
Yeah, didn't need it. But I don't know. Maybe this is just like I said, David. How many times have I said it now? Have I said it enough? Will I say it again?
One more. Go on. One more.
This movie is released in an era where its existence is erased.
Well, Brian, I think that we have. Is this the first movie where we've really kind of went into it, I suppose, disagreeing on what we thought of it?
I think we disagreed on a couple of things, but we disagreed quite positively.
Oh yeah, I think that don't get me wrong, I enjoyed it more than, say, Shazam, Fury of the Gods.
God, yes. I enjoyed it more than Ant-Man, which, by the way, the CGI was more messy to look at than it was in this. But yeah.
But I it's not one I'll rush back to, but I probably will watch it again. Just for certain scenes, I think.
Yeah.
Maybe even.
It's a good movie. I liked it. There's a good couple of laughs as well. I didn't laugh at all with Shazam, and this had a good couple of laughs. But yeah. So
thank you very much for joining us on this extra special, extra long episode of The Flash. I know that The Flash is quick and this episode was long, so it doesn't really match, but we appreciate you. If you made it this far, we really, really appreciate you. I hope that you're following us on social media, on Instagram, on Twitter, at Talking Pictures Pod. All the links to all our stuff is always in the description. You can send us an email at talkingpicturespodcast1@gmail.com. Let us know what you thought of The Flash. If you had positive or negative thoughts on it, let us know. As always, we post here every Wednesday. New movies coming out constantly. We still have a jam-packed summer. We still have Oppenheimer, Barbie, Elemental, Indiana Jones, loads of stuff. So you're going to want to make sure that you're subscribed. Give us 5 stars if you can. It helps the show out. It lets other people see us and it lets us know that you care. Thank you so much once again. Brian, any final words?
If you're on Letterboxd, why don't you follow us? Brian _ whatever that thing is.
I'll put it in the links in the description.
Yeah, the hyphen that's below the letters.
Yeah.
Brian
_
Rogers.
And I am, what am I?
On Letterboxd.
On Letterboxd, I am...
It's a great app for movie following.
David Smith. That's me. So,
David Smith?
Yeah. The links will be below in the description so you can follow us, keep up to date with what we're watching, and let us know. Brian, thanks a million.
See you next week, David.